how do I identify if I have an upper limit problem?
Well, there are several really simple ways to tell. One is if you find yourself worrying about the same thing over and over again, especially if you've worried about it three or more times. That's kind of the cutoff point. Worrying about something, I'm wondering if I'm going to get to the studio on time. Oh, I'll go turn down this way and that'll help me. That's a good use of worry because then you're taking action in some way. But the worry thoughts that are upper limit problems are worry thoughts that usually occur well more than three times. You keep recycling them over and over and over again. And so repetitive worry is one of the first ways you can know that you have an upper limit problem. And so if you think about it, worry is probably the easiest way of upper limiting yourself. I think in the Big Leap, I talk about I was walking down the street one day feeling really, really good. And then I looked in the window of a jewelry store as I was passing by, and I saw a beautiful ring or necklace. And I walked on past it, and then I started thinking, gee, I haven't given Katie a jewel in a long time. Oh gosh, and so within about 20 steps, I'm feeling bad about myself just because I saw a beautiful jewel. And so that's a classic example of the upper limit problem. Another way you can tell you have an upper limit problem is when you injure yourself or get sick or kind of, especially when some bad feeling comes over you kind of out of nowhere, not because you have a cold or not because you have the flu or anything like that. You just suddenly don't feel good. Well, oftentimes that's an upper limit problem. And so a lot of us use illness and accidents as upper limit. A good friend of mine fell in love with an actor who's in a movie that's just now having its grand premiere, Mission Impossible. And they flew to Italy for the premiere of the movie. And she'd never walked a red carpet before because, she'd never been in love with an actor that was in a red carpet movie before. And so she walked the red carpet for the first time and she slipped and had a little slip and fall. So that's a classic upper limit because here's the best moment of her life in a way. And some part of her must have felt, oh, I don't deserve this. And so, she had to punish herself in some way. And so many illnesses and many accidents are like a light punishment we administer to ourselves because we think we've felt too good, that we've busted through some old norm. See, a lot of us feel loyal to our families of origin. We have a deal, an unconscious deal, not to be more successful or not to feel better than them. And so if you start feeling really good or you move into a better house than your parents live in, it's likely to trigger an upper limit problem. Like, do I deserve this? What have I done to deserve this? And so those kinds of things happen all the time in life. Most of them don't involve a slip and fall on a red carpet for a premiere of a movie. Most of them are little tiny things that occur, like little stubbing your toe or accidentally breaking a glass. What were you thinking just before you broke that glass? That's a good question to ask because a lot of times, you might be thinking of somebody you had a conflict with, and immediately you transferred some of those feelings onto breaking a glass. I think once I read a study that a majority of single car accidents happen within an hour after an emotional upset. And, a classic example of that happened to a couple of friends of mine. They got into an argument and she got hungry for something that they only sell down at the 7-Eleven store on the corner. And so right in the middle of the argument, she wanted to go down and get these fudge brownies, and she got into the car and crashed into the back of somebody else down at the store. So she didn't get her brownies, she didn't resolve the argument, and it compounded the whole situation because then her husband had to come down and kind of bail her out. So those kinds of things happen a lot because instead of being with some emotional moment or clearing up whatever the conflict is, oftentimes we push the conflict under the rug and go out for a platter of brownies.